I would like to call this meeting of the Urbana MOR Development Review Board to order. And the time is now 8 p.m. My name is Robert Myers. I'm planning manager for the city of Urbana. And one of our tasks tonight will be to elect a chair for this body. So meanwhile, unless there's any objection, I will proceed with the agenda until we get to that point where we elect the chair, and then I'll turn over the meeting to whomever we might elect as a new chair. The first item is the call to order and roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Allred. Ms. Gentry. Mr. Hunsinger.
Here.
Mr. Otto.
Here.
Mr. Poss.
Here.
Ms. Smith.
All right, we do have a quorum this evening. Unless there's any changes to the agenda, item number 2, we'll move on to item number 3, which is approval of the minutes. I should probably explain that there's 2 minutes on the agenda for approval. One is December 11th, 2008, and one is March 17th, 2011. And it seems hard for me to believe that we have 2008 minutes on the agenda. The reason is because at our last meeting in March, the last time we met, we didn't actually have a quorum. And the last time we met before then was in 2008. So we were not able to officially approve the minutes back last March. So I guess we'll start with the December 11th, 2008 meeting minutes. Does anyone need any additional time to review, or do you have any corrections or amendments?
I move approval.
Okay, Kim
Amendments.
Smith moves for approval. Do we have a second? Brian Adams seconds. Okay, can we have everyone in favor of approval of December 11th, 2008 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Likewise, as opposed, say no. Okay, minutes are approved. Next, we go to the March 17th, 2011 meeting minutes. Do we have any amendments, changes, corrections? Can I have a motion for approval, please?
I move approval of the minutes.
Okay, Kim Smith, motion for approval. Do we have a second? Jeffrey Poss, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Likewise, if voting no, say no. The meeting minutes are approved for March 17th, 2011. Communications, in your item number 4 on your agenda, we have 2 items in your packet in terms of communications. One was the Open Meetings Act, Illinois Open Meetings Act question and answer handout that we just spoke about. So I'm not going to go over that again, since everyone at the last meeting this meeting was present for the last meeting. The other item or handout we have on the agenda is our MOR Development Review Board 2012 meeting schedule. And this schedule, like the other, the Development Review Board, or excuse me, like the Design Review Board, it's easy to get too confused. Like the Design Review Board, these are regularly scheduled meeting dates, and we'll publish these meeting dates, but most probably we will not meet all of these dates, and we'll let people know when we are going to be meeting. It's essentially on an as-needed basis, but all of these dates are reserved for this body to meet if necessary. This same chart, you've got the application deadline, and there's a News Gazette classified ad deadline. You don't have to worry about any of that. We'll handle that. City staff will. We'll handle the public notices. Along with that, there's a small brochure that you have in your packet with the names of the board members and then a summary of procedures for public hearings. And again, this is a very handy guide if there's something you might want to bring with you to meetings, because I find myself referring to this again and again. It's easy to forget sometimes. Let's see here. Those are the two communications that we have for you. Item number 5 is continued public hearings. We did not have any. Item number 6 is old business. We have no old business. Item number 7 is new public hearings. We have no new public hearings. Item 8 on the agenda is new business. And first we have election of chairperson, and then second we have election of a vice chair. I guess first I would ask, is there anyone who would like to serve as chair, or who would like to nominate someone who you believe would be a good chair?
I would like to nominate Jeff Poss for chairperson.
Okay, we have a nomination by Kim Smith for Jeff Poss for chairperson. Is that right? Okay. Do we have a second? Brian Adams seconds that. Would that be acceptable to you, Mr. Poss?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a roll call vote, please, on that motion? The nomination, I should say.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Poss?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes, and Jeffrey Poss is the new chairperson for the MOR Development Review Board.
Okay, thank you. I guess the next item, new business item, is the election of a vice chairperson. Is there anybody who is interested or willing to serve, or are there any nominations?
One of the roles of the vice chair would be, if the chair is not able to attend a meeting, then the vice chair normally presides over that meeting.
Is there any function in this committee similar to the last committee where the chair and/or the vice chair would meet with city staff to approve something that was minor? Are there any responsibilities for the vice chair and the chair here other than conduct meetings?
I think the chair, if it's administrative review, the chair would have to sign off on that. That's my recollection, but I don't think there's any functions of the vice chair unless the chair is not available for a meeting or is out of town and can't look at a administrative review request.
I can address that a bit further. With the administrative review, it's mostly done through email. So unless someone was incapacitated and the chair was incapacitated in some way, they wouldn't need to be in town to be able to do administrative review.
Okay, we're hearing no nominations for vice chairperson. I would like to nominate Kim Smith as vice chairperson. Do I hear a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay. Any other nominations? No, and I guess we'll have a roll call vote for that.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Poss?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
And Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Okay. Number 9 on the agenda, audience participation. I think we can pass that over right quickly. 10, staff reports.
Just like with the last board, I can give an update on the projects that have been administratively reviewed. And these go back a little further than with the last board, because the last board did meet earlier this year with a quorum. This board hasn't met since 2008 with a quorum. So going back to 2009, there was an application, at 310 West Green Street in the MOR district. And that was for a deck and staircase to be added to the rear of a house. And that was approved on November 6th, 2009. And the case is DRB 2009-01. And then in 2010, at 411 West Green Street, there was an application to change a 3-unit apartment into a rooming house. So that was, the building form was a house. You wouldn't have known that it was an apartment building from the outside. And so the most of the changes were done on the inside, and it was changing it from 3 units into one, the building form of a single-family house, but actually technically a rooming house, which is allowed in the MOR district. And that was approved on June 9th, 2010, and the case number was DRB 2010-01. And then earlier this year, we had an application at 603 West Green Street to reconstruct an exterior stair and porches on the rear of a building. And that was approved on January 25th, and that case number was DRB 2011-01. And then there was another case, another application this year, that was also for 411 West Green Street, so the new rooming house. And that was to create a basement egress. That it was a staircase that went down to a basement door, and it needed to meet code. So it basically needed to have a cover over it and have a slightly different grade going down to it, the rise and run of the stairs. And that was approved on November 18th, and the case number there was DRB 2011-02.
Thank you, Rebecca.
If I could add one other thing, we do have another member who was just appointed to this board, I believe about 2 weeks ago. His name is Dustin Allred, and he was unable to be here this evening, but he is now also on the board, and he does live within the MOR district. So that's one of the criteria for 2 of the members of the MOR board, is that they live or own property in or within 250 feet of the MOR district, and so he's the second one. And we have actually spent about 3 years with that vacancy, that seat being vacant on this board, trying to find someone in the district to fill it. And so he finally stepped up and was appointed about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, thank you. I guess we don't need to go over the Open Meetings Act again, since everybody has heard it here. Study session, I don't think there's anything we need to cover there. So I guess we can go ahead and move for adjournment. Do I hear a movement for?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.